This is NECN News Saturday.
Good evening, New England. I'm Justin Michaels. A week after an ice storm hit parts of northern New England, more than 4,000 customers are still without power there. It could be next week before some parts of Hancock County, Maine, get power back. Officials there are planning to keep shelters and warming centers open as long as needed. And there's more winter weather on the way. Meteorologist Tim Kelly joins us now with details on that. Tim.
Hi, Justin. Yeah, this is the view just before the sun went down in Ellsworth, Maine. In a few minutes.
All right, Tim, we'll see you shortly. In the news today, a driver suffered minor injuries after crashing into a storefront on Cape Cod. Barnstable police say 88-year-old Dorothy O'Connell hit a T-Mobile building in the Cape Town Plaza. It's on Route 132 around 12:30 this afternoon. The car entered an empty storefront in that plaza. Police say the driver suffered some cuts, also some bruises, and the building inspector checked things out. He says that building is safe. Massachusetts State Police are investigating a deadly car crash early this morning in Brookfield. The driver of the car, Jonathan Bemis of Brookfield, died at the scene. He was alone in the car when it crashed on Rice Corner Cross and Lake Roads around 1:30 this morning. Police are investigating the circumstances of this accident. Customers of 8 bars and restaurants in Boston should keep an eye on their credit card statements. Our Caitlin Tivnan has details on a data breach involving the Breyer Group.
Phil Willett stopped by the Harp in Boston. Caitlin Tivnan, NECN.
Now, the Attorney General's office has released a statement regarding this breach. They say, quote, data breaches are a serious concern, and we do expect the Breyer Group to assist consumers impacted by this breach. And this isn't the first data breach involving the Breyer Group. The restaurant group paid $110,000 in settlement with the state for a data breach back in 2009. Attorney General Martha Coakley said the Breyer Group failed to take responsible steps to protect its patrons' personal information. In that breach, hackers stole customer credit card and debit card information, including their names and also account numbers. Target is trying to reassure customers after revealing debit card PIN numbers were stolen during that massive data breach a few weeks ago. The retailer says the PINs were encrypted, so hackers can't use that data. An outside company processing the payment by unlocking the PIN with a digital key, something that other people don't have. Now, Target says since that digital key is not within its system, the hackers cannot steal it. But there is some debate among cybersecurity experts.
That would take decades.
Now, one security analyst does advise just change your PIN, be on the safe side there. More than 1 million out-of-work Americans are trying to find new ways to make ends meet. They've exhausted their state unemployment benefits, and now federal extensions are gone as well. Our John Maroney joins us now in studio. And John, how are people dealing with this change?
Well, Justin, right now, a lot of them are doing what...
All right, John, thank you very much for your reporting. But there could be a little bit of a relief for these people. Taxpayers in Massachusetts going to be getting a gift on New Year's Day, a tax cut. The state's income tax rate is dropping from 5.25% to 5.2%. That's because of the new state law. It requires an automatic 0.5% cut when growth in the state revenues exceeds certain benchmarks. Boston Mayor Tom Menino will not be attending the inauguration of his successor, Marty Walsh. Menino's office says he's already made plans to go on vacation and believes the inauguration is Marty Walsh's day. Menino will meet with Walsh the morning of the inauguration to hand over those reins. The inauguration is set for January 6th. Drivers in Boston are adjusting to life without the Callahan Tunnel. The tunnel closed late last night, and it will stay closed until March 12th for a lot of much-needed repairs. One cab driver we talked with is concerned about how traffic is actually really going to be impacted by this.
It's going to be a mess.
Transportation officials are expecting more people to use the Ted Williams Tunnel to get to Logan Airport, also East Boston. They're urging people, though, to take public transportation to get to Logan International. A few months ago, First Night Boston's nearly 4-decade run was in doubt. But ice sculpting, the grand procession down Boylston Street, and fireworks will all be back for the 38th annual New Year's Eve there in Boston. First Night buttons and to attend all the indoor activities are now down to $10. That's down from $18 a year ago as sponsors have stepped up. And new this year is a video mapping show. It's put together by a guy named Zebler. He's the internationally known artist who was at the center of that light boards hoax in Boston, you'll recall. Well, he'll put the show together. He put on a show around midnight outside Public Library. We'll have more on that story coming up tonight on the Only News at 9. Back here tonight, caught on camera. Take a look at this. A fireball streaks across the sky in Iowa. Look at that thing. The bright, colorful light was seen for hundreds of miles Thursday night. It's unclear if it was actually a meteor, though. Astronomers say the object was large enough that parts of it actually could have hit the Earth. It could have also just been a piece of man-made space debris returning to Earth. I wonder if you find a piece of that, what you get. eBay. Well, when Bill de Blasio becomes the mayor of New York City, former President Bill Clinton's going to be right by his side. Clinton will swear in de Blasio during a ceremony on Wednesday at City Hall there in New York. De Blasio worked in the Department of Housing and Urban Development during the Clinton administration. He is succeeding Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who is leaving office after 3 terms. In international news now, the Libyan government is defending its decision to briefly detain 4 U.S. military personnel. They were held following an apparent altercation at a checkpoint. Our Ayman Moaldin has more now.
U.S. officials have confirmed that 4 American military personnel. Ayman Moaldin, NBC News, Beirut.
In other international news now, China is easing its controversial one-child policy. The nation is now formally allowing couples to have a second child, but that's only if one of the parents is an only child themselves. This is the first major easing of China's one-child policy, which was implemented back in 1980. China has credited the policy with managing its population growth. It's the world's most populous country, with more than 1.35 billion people. Next, out for the season, the Bruins lose a defenseman to injury. Also, some may say this guy might be handsome, but believe it or not, he's attractive in a whole different way.
That'll do it for sports. I'm Dallin Cuff. Justin, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Dallin. And Tim, many people here say you have a magnetic personality.
Thank you. You too.
Many people do. Well, take a look at this guy from the Republic of Georgia. Very unique talent here. Today, he set a new record for the magnetic body attraction by holding 53 spoons to his back and his chest. Yes, he did this, folks. But he didn't stop there. Why would he stop there? He pulled a Mercedes-Benz that was attached to a rope, and a metal sheet was attached to his chest. To make things even more difficult, a teenage boy sat on the sheet.
The man is a magnet.
The man apparently is a magnet, so says Guinness.
He swallowed a magneto.
Those things could be sitting there, couldn't
Something's
they?
going on.
I don't know.
We're out of time.
Okay, thanks for joining us. I'm Justin Michaels.
I'm Tim Kelly. Thank you for watching NECN, New England's news station.